Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I know you might not be able to see everyone here. We have quite a few folks here in the classroom, and we have few people online. This is a hybrid section. Welcome to the Global Internship info session. Today, joining us, we have Global Career Center, Leah and Naveen. We have Kate and Naveen joining from GCC Global Career Center. And then they will talk about the CTC providing for the summer 2024 Global Internship. And we also have Leah joining us from Boston. She will talk about USA, what kind of program they offer. After their presentation, we will talk about scholarship opportunities and also Q&A. We'll get started. I'll show you the presentation from Kate from GCC.
Perfect.
Okay, here we go.
That's great. Thank you. Let's pop up there. And I will get that moving. There we go. Perfect. And thank you so much. We're really glad to be here and have a chance to talk about global internships, and particularly excited that our colleagues from USA are on the line as well, because our organization actually was part of USA. We're family. All right, so our primary goal here is to let you know the opportunities for a global internship, why to do a global internship, and then also to congratulate you for thinking about a global internship. So just for today, I'll spend about 15 minutes going relatively quickly over some of those things, the benefits of a global internship, some of the locations and sample projects, how it works, so a little bit about where, and also the timing, and then talk a bit about some of those costs and questions. And of course, you'll have some time at the end to hear more about the scholarship opportunities provided here through the college, which are unprecedented and really exciting to see the amount of work that our colleagues here in the college do to help you access these opportunities. So just real quickly, Global Career Center, we've been around for decades. We partner with colleges and universities to develop and deliver internship programs. We are a specialist organization. We love what we do, and we look forward to working with you. You'll see here a few quotes from past students, including why to do a global internship. I think for me, that idea of getting pushed out of your comfort zone is really exciting. I know not always sounds like a fun thing, but can be quite good to try and learn new things as well. And among those things you learn are certainly skills, having the professional experience, working with teams, and having those very tangible, applied, real-world tasks. You'll see a few students here who talk about their confidence and also gaining presentation skills as well. So with that, the benefits you can actually kind of break down by knowledge and skills and abilities. And I mention this now because as you're thinking about where to intern or study abroad, is thinking about the application materials through the college, about the conversations you'll have with our teams, it's good to think about what you want to learn. What are specific skills or networks? What are specific abilities? And what would you be looking as far as project scope and local business and culture to learn as well too. I'll pause there. Just been curious, do anybody know a specific city they're interested in already? All right, I thought you might. Which? Okay, good. Excellent. Good. We'll talk about all of them. Any others? And I'll look for the chat as well. But we'll get to those in just a minute. But I also wanted to, before we do so, I see in the chat we have a Tokyo. All right. Thank you. Excellent. Thank you for that. We'll talk a bit about the locations. I've talked a bit about why a global internship, but I just wanted to reiterate that we look at this as a comprehensive program. Yes, at the foundation, you have this professional experience linked to your studies and your future career, but you also have all that wraps around that to allow you to actually be able to access that opportunity, to be able to make the most of that opportunity. Now, some of that stuff is not super fun, housing and visas. And I used to be really apologetic about visas. I would say to our students and our supervisors that I was so sorry we had to put you through this paperwork. I've actually turned around my thinking on that because I think it's really helpful for your future career to think about if you wanted to have an opportunity overseas in the future, how cool is it that you get a chance to think about that paperwork and that process. How cool is paperwork and process? I know not very, but to think about that paperwork and process and how within a guided environment, within that nurtured and sort of foundational environment that our teams provide as well. So these are just some of the examples of those professional and cultural. In addition to that housing, visa, emergency support, there's also orientation, getting to know the city and getting to explore that city. And it varies a little bit by location. I'm based in Boston, and it really matters a lot about sports. For Singapore, you got to know food, got to be able to talk about food with your colleagues. Vancouver, usually weather comes up, kind of like here in the Bay Area for sure. But just to give you a sense of that range of opportunities, and our team will work with you to have the placement, the building blocks to help you support your opportunity in the city, and then also those cultural and professional development opportunities to help you make the most of it. All right, now we have two separate presentations, but related. Again, do a global internship. That's my key thing. You'll hear from our colleague Leah in a little bit about some other locations, but I'm going to talk first about the GCC or Global Career Center locations. And I could talk for a full hour about any of these, but I'm just going to do a quick sort of sentence or two about each. Berlin, Germany for us is similar to Lisbon in the fact that both are innovation centers and innovation hubs. Lots of entrepreneurship, lots of startups, lots of different technology, Internet of Things, engineering, a wide range. In Lisbon, we do see a bit more about business, trade, hospitality. Berlin is a little bit more related to technology and also, as I mentioned, Internet of Things and engineering. Both are vibrant communities. That's what innovation hubs bring. And they also bring this opportunity to get to know quite a different part of city. Kind of an interesting fact there is that we as an organization opened up in Lisbon because our supervisors from Berlin started moving to Lisbon. And we asked them why, and they said, well, it's more affordable. They're all pretty affordable, particularly in our program. But then they also mentioned Lisbon as a location to look towards working in Brazil, or if folks are looking to expand to other parts of Europe. I will mention for all of these areas, we assume English language placements, but if you do have another language, let us know. Obviously, that might open up other opportunities for you. I'm going to spin the globe and talk about Singapore and Tokyo, which are two other locations for us. Singapore, we've been at for a very long time. As a city, it does provide a wide range of opportunities. Certainly, we see business, trade, arts, culture, but also STEM research, public health a bit as well too. While Tokyo for us, especially in English language, we tend to focus on technology, NGOs, and a bit of sort of marketing if the right fit for an employer as well. Both are great cities. Both have amazing opportunities. Tokyo, we get a lot of folks interested in Tokyo because of they might have a certain experience. So we have lots of students who've been there because I really love this video game and I want to go see where that's made, or really love anime and I want to go to Tokyo or the home of it as well. But so great cultural as well as professional opportunities as well. And then, of course, that West Coast, those two West Coast opportunities with Vancouver, just north of here, and San Francisco, also just north of here, but San Francisco, we mean the Bay Area. And we do work with students on placements throughout the Bay and have a lot of students from several local university and college partners that really find that global opportunity nearby. And we love to support that type of experience for you all as well. And for Vancouver, Canada in particular, provides a surprising to students how much similar that could feel, but then they get there and realize that business and culture and everything is more different than they thought. And we love to help you explore that as well. Vancouver is particularly strong in sustainability. So all flavors of sustainability, and sometimes it's a combination of those as well. International business is quite strong, and then we do see STEM engineering, a wide range there as well too. But we'll have time to talk about those individually, and for those who are listening back to the recording, our team is always available to answer questions about specific places as well. Very quickly, just some sample projects, because students will often ask, what type of thing will I be doing? And this gives you an example of some of the projects we've worked with in locations from that earlier slide. To give you a few examples, you know, an ed tech startup, I believe that one happened to be in Berlin, where students were helping with some beta testing and helping with a market expansion. For the social media consultancy, I know exactly who that was in Singapore, working on some client skills. And certainly we've had students work on client development, client management has been a great opportunity. In addition to that, we've certainly had in consumer goods companies and manufacturing startups, a wide range of opportunities. I think I really want to emphasize that project-based placements. We're often working with employers to create things that are consistent with what your goals are and consistent with their current needs. This isn't busy work. It's not an opportunity to fill a seat. They want to make sure those are projects that are meaningful to you and to them. I will talk very quickly about how the placement works. So we do have a 3-phase approach to our placement process. In that first phase, we get to know you pretty well. We get to know our employers even better. We've been working with them for a long time, but their needs may change. So we're scoping projects. We're having a sort of an intake conversation with you, asking you to sort of think about what you do and do not want to do, what you would prioritize. And then we're always looking at our cities and thinking about industry trends and what we're seeing from, you know, shifts from hybrid to in-person to thinking about, you know, how venture capital might be impacting a specific sector, be that life sciences or another in a specific area as well. We then match you and an employer, have you interview with that employer. There will be along the way workshops and activities and materials to help you prepare for that, particularly with local context in mind. But I do want to note that you meet with our team. That's a meeting. You interview with an employer. So tell us everything, and we want to hear everything about what you do and don't want to do. But then with that employer, we'll talk more about sort of those interviewing skills. And because I mentioned those projects are often created for that summer, they're thinking specifically about an intern. Those can sometimes be different level of formality on the internship interview, depending on the culture and the company. And then finally, at the program itself, we're providing ongoing support to you, to your cohort, and having some of those activities that I mentioned when we said it's more than a placement. You have all of these activities around to help as well. So a bit about the dates for summer 2024. We're looking at an 8-week program from June 9 to August 3. And you will enroll in a course, the co-op course there as well too. That's a great course. I've been able to sit in on some of that and really enjoyed getting a chance to get to know the instructors and getting a chance to hear how that all comes together as well. Yeah.
Do the student get credit for that?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It's like you're looking ahead at my slides. I got something else. Yeah, you do get credit for that. It's nice because then you'll have an internship on your resume, right? And you'll also have a line in your transcript that says co-op support as well.
How many?
Please, 3. Thank you. 3 credits. Perfect. Good. And I just wanted to do a quick housing. There's 6 cities, so housing's a little bit different based on city. But typically, student accommodations is how we like to prepare it. Maybe slightly different depending on the place, but looking typically at shared rooms with common accommodations, always having kitchen facilities, Wi-Fi, laundry, and be able to commute via public transport. So the other piece here is to know who's eligible to apply, and you'll see there over 18 at the time of internship and a minimum of 30 college units completed prior to start, and that minimum GPA as well. And then finally, a bit about cost. You'll see there the tuition as well. That's again for 3 credits. And we as an organization have actually taken a decision to make the costing similar as we can in different regions. So that if you're thinking about Europe or you're thinking about Asia, we can have a conversation about which of those locations is the best for what you're looking to do versus thinking about, oh, it's a few dollars more or less here. That we've been able to work to do that as well. Please.
For the tuition, if you live in San Mateo County, you're in luck. The tuition is waived.
Fantastic. Woo.
For San Mateo County residents, it's free.
That's amazing.
Yes. Actually, all the courses here.
That's great.
College. If you're San Mateo County residents, it's free.
That's great. So no tuition or free tuition, I should say. There's not no tuition, there's free tuition for San Mateo County residents. That's great. So absolutely, we wanted to encourage it. We'll encourage it even more. So that'd be great. And then we have questions here, but I'll pause there. We'll have time for questions afterwards, and I will turn things over to Leah to talk to us about some other locations.
Thank you. Hi, hello. I'm going to share my screen in just a second. Let's see.
Okay. Good. Let me stop. Oh, I think we stopped.
Okay.
Some technical difficulty here. We did stop share, right?
Yeah, we did. I thought.
Share screen. We not. How about I will share your screen then, Leah, because we have a little bit
No worries.
can close this one. Okay, this one. Okay. Yeah, feel free now. I'll be clicking the screen.
Okay, so
Let me go to the presentation mode.
okay.
Hold down. Give me a sec. Slideshow. Here we go. Cool. Give me a sec. You know where?
What the?
Yes. Maybe. Oh, I know what we can do. We have to. Oh, we don't. Aiden, would you be able to help with this part? We are. We are.
What do you mean?
I accidentally closed that one. Let me unplug this first.
Please hold.
And
Hi, I'm Leah Girasole from USA Academic Internship Experts. And today we're going to talk about who USA is. We're going to chat a little bit about our city staff. Kate already kind of mentioned the value of international internships, so I won't go too deep into that, but we'll also talk about the placement process, your program overview, as well as kind of the deep dive into housing and academics, and then where have students been placed, and then Kelly will kind of talk about scholarship opportunities as well. So if you go to the next slide, who is USA? Well, we are a nonprofit organization that works with universities to offer 4-credit customized internship programs for students. So we've been doing this for over 35 years, and we have locations in London, Dublin, Madrid, Paris, and Prague. But today I'm going to talk specifically about Dublin, Madrid, and Prague. Next slide. Excellent. So who are we? As I mentioned, I am Leah, but we have staff members in Europe who are the heart of our program. Each of our locations, you can count on USA's experienced staff to find the right placement for you and to also offer you support throughout your program. So our team members know their cities inside and out, and they can't wait to meet you. Here we have Dublin, Catherine from Dublin, Rathio from Madrid, and Barbara from Prague. So they're very excited. Okay, next. So how does it all work? In terms of the application, you'll apply through the study abroad office. Once you get accepted, that's where USA comes in, and we'll chat with you. We'll have an individual internship consultation meeting with you, and we'll talk about your major, your minor, your hopes and dreams, and all the good stuff in between. At that point, then sorry, I just lost track of my script. And then at that point, we will then go back to our network and find a placement. It's kind of like a matchmaking service. So we have companies that we have that we've worked with throughout the years, but we also have new companies that might be interested in intern. And based on your wants and needs, and based on the company's wants and needs, we match you up with an opportunity. We send you a provisional placement email, and at that time you have a chance to kind of look over the placement, the company. We'll give you like the website of the company as well as a job description. If a student has been there before, we also include a student quote so you can kind of get a general feel. If you are excited and all looks good, we move on to the next step, which is a supervisor interview. This can happen online or it can happen during orientation week. I like to call it kind of a vibe check to make sure that your goals aligns with the company goals. There's going to be projects that you might be in charge of. So that's that interview time is when you'll talk about those projects. And then it all looks good. Then we will confirm the placement, confirm the dates. And then the following week after your orientation, you start your internship. So here is a program overview. As I mentioned, we do Dublin, Madrid, and Prague. Most of it is going to be end of May, early June, and these are about 8-week programs or 7.5-week programs. As I mentioned, orientation, that's when you get to meet the team. You'll also meet students from the program, other students, and we'll also have different cultural activities too. So you're not just completely alone. And then the following week, you'll have your internship Monday through Friday with your company. Thank you, you're good. And then during your program, you will be housed in USA housing. Aiden, next, yes, thank you, great. In Dublin and Prague, you'll be living in shared student apartments with common areas, shared kitchen and bathroom. You don't have to take like pots and pans or anything. The housing will have you're furnished with dishes and cookwares and utensils. And you'll also have other shared common spaces as well. In Madrid, you'll live in an authentic homestay. The one thing I forgot to mention earlier is for Madrid, you do have to have at least 5 semesters of Spanish because your internship will be in Spanish. So the homestay is another added layer, which I think is excellent if you really want to gain that Spanish skills because you'll be with a Spanish-speaking family. For both location or all location, housing distance is going to vary from internship because everyone's going to have a different internship location. So there will be an element of commute. That is something I always like to highlight as well. In terms of timeline for when you get information about your housing, it's going to be closer to your departure date. Around May is when you kind of get more information about your housing details, the address, your homestay family, or your address to your student housing, as well as a packing list to kind of remind you of what you'll need to pack before you go abroad. Next slide, please. So as I mentioned before, you guys are doing an academic internship. So what does that mean? It's a short-term, supervised, unpaid, practical and professional work experience that exposes a student to responsibilities in the career field of interest. It is unpaid, but you do get academic credit and you will be supervised. So on top of USA, you will also have an internship supervisor that will be assisting you throughout your time at the company, and they'll be helping you, kind of giving you information about projects or kind of mentor and giving you updates about that. It's an opportunity to integrate practical learning with your academic studies and develop essential professional competencies, and it's going to be a unique experience for you. So something I like to highlight is that you know, just because you go with a friend doesn't mean that you guys will have the same experience. Every student is going to have slightly a different experience. For Dublin, Madrid, and Prague, there is an academic internship coursework administered by your home institution. And Your final grade for the program may be determined by work samples or papers or assignments or reflective journals, in addition to a supervisor evaluation that will be completed by your internship supervisor at the end of your program. So as I mentioned, you have that supervisor, they'll be watching you and they will evaluate you. So that could be part of your grade as well. Next slide, please. So where have students been placed? Now, I don't really actually like this slide because some of these examples aren't necessarily going to be examples that we'll have next year or next summer, but these are examples from past placements, and they can change from year to year. USA works with you to find the internship experience that fits your academic and your interests. And internship, like I said, will vary from student to student. We placed interns from all different types of major industries, ranging from arts and culture, communications, healthcare, education, politics, law, and NGOs and business. Some companies you might recognize on this slide, or they're a little bit more international, but some might be more local or more recognized in Europe in general. We place you based on what organization can provide the most meaningful experience and valuable work for you and your professional development, not necessarily on the name. So I do want to keep that in mind for you guys. Next slide, please. So here are some student quotes that we've had from previous students. Something to kind of read. And then that's it for me, I believe. Aiden, if you can go to the next slide so I can confirm that. Yes, so yeah, that's it. So Aiden can stop screen share and I think we'll then go to questions. Thank you so much, Aiden.
How do I? Okay.
That's perfect.
Aria has a question. Yeah, feel free, unmute yourself to ask the question, Aria.
Hello, I just have a quick question. So could you just describe how the life is during the internship, like a day in the life, maybe on a weekday or a weekend, just in general?
Do you have a location in mind?
Well, because I haven't done 5 semesters of Spanish, it would probably be one of the cities outside of Spain.
Okay,
So
cool.
let's just say Dublin.
Okay, so I'll talk a little bit about Dublin and then I'll give that space to Kate to talk more about her locations as well, because they might be just a little bit different. Generally speaking, you will be working 9 to 5. Some students with certain majors or career or field interests might have a little bit more of a different time. So you'll have your commute and then you'll go into the office. Most students will have an opportunity to then usually meet with their supervisor or just a company-wide meeting, and they'll talk about kind of the day-to-day projects that they'll be working on, either short-term or long-term goals or long-term projects. And then depending on your interest, you'll be doing different things. So for example, we had a student that was in a startup and his major project was market research because they were trying to break into the US field. And so they wanted to get more information about kind of the US market and where that is. At the end of that big project, he also got to present to the company, company-wide, which also included the CEO of the startup and the CFO. So that was really cool. And then there are some short-term projects that he did as well, which also included kind of assisting with the website, which is not necessarily business related, but it was a startup. So it's kind of a little bit more hands-on with the different things. And he wanted to get kind of an idea of what exactly a startup did. We've also had students, another student that I can think of did event planning. So her hours were a little bit different because there were some after-hour events that she had to help host. And her project was working with the in-house event planner and making sure, the guest list was up to date, things were sent out accordingly, and like the food and catering was ready to go before the event. But like I said, her hours were a little bit different. Kelly, do you want to go more, or Kate, do you want to go more into kind of your locations?
I can do.
Yeah, and Kate will talk about the other locations.
Sure thing. I know. Thank you for that. And Leah, you actually did mention a few of the areas that I think about, particularly with industry areas, things like public relations and event planning can certainly have hours that are different than traditional sort of 9 to 5 type hours based on the needs of the company or the projects as well. Does tend to be full-time or nearly full-time. I have heard from students before, if they're used to a classroom schedule, that can feel a little exhausting, but we're here to help you kind of navigate that part of the world as well. And for us as well, from a city perspective, we do see that for Singapore and Tokyo, those do tend to be more towards the 40 hours per week, where Lisbon and Berlin tend to be more towards the 32 or 35 hours per week. And that's just given sort of cultural norms, sort of business norms in those locations. But yeah, thank you for that. And good question as well.
I do want to
Thank you.
just a little quickly on top of your work, and I'm sure Kate can also agree to this too, is that our organization have different cultural activities that you can do. You'll sometimes have free weekends, but you might also have weekends where we might have a trip to a different location, a different cultural location. I know last summer there was a river dance theater excursion that we did in Dublin specifically. And then there were other field trips, or I guess exploration trips that we had as well.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Leah. Thank you, Kate. So, what we're gonna talk about next about is scholarship opportunities. So, as you, Kate, when Kate shared her screen at first, she gave you the price range about all the internship programs, right? Is yeah, for our students, especially for community college students, it's quite big. So how can we pay for this? There are so many scholarship opportunities. I'll talk about from San Mateo County Community College district. We even have a passport grant. If you don't have a passport, if you never had a passport, you can apply for this grant. So, we will be opening up soon. The deadline to apply is December 1st. This is in honor to celebrate International Education Week. We opened up this first passport grant. It's worth $165. It's $130 passport fee plus $35 execution fee. And we also can take passport pictures in our office as well. If you are interested in study abroad program, you tell us your interests, then you get a free photos. So, I hope you will all apply if you never had a passport. Next, we have scholarships through San Mateo County Community College study abroad program. So for next summer, we're offering $5,000 for 5 students. So it will be $1,000 each. You can connect with me if you're interested in the Global Internship. This scholarship is specific for the internship program. One more big thing is Benjamin Gilman International Scholarship. This scholarship awards up to $5,000 for semester program and awards up to $3,000 for a summer program. The internship program is a summer program, so you are more than welcome to apply if you are qualified. The qualification is you must be a U.S. citizen and qualify to receive Pell Grant. The deadline to apply is March 7, 2024 for the 2024 program. And the application will open in mid-January. So at Skyline College, San Mateo County Community College, we provide a lot of help, assistance when you apply for scholarship. We meet with you, talk about your ideas, how to write the essays, because this scholarship does require 3 essays. We have tutoring section and to provide assistance and to go through your essays to correct your grammars, maybe give you feedbacks, how you can best present yourself, because this scholarship, it is very competitive, but they do award a lot of scholarship out a year, twice a year. The last round was, the deadline was October 31st. We just had big sessions with our students for next spring and summer and fall program. So if you're interested in Global Internship, I strongly recommend you get started with your essay right now, and connect with me or our office to help you with your essay before you're submitting them. So we will open up for questions soon. Oh, one more thing I want to talk about is insurance. So we actually cover medical and accident insurance, $500,000 each. So the fee is only $60 a month for this program. So most of this program you can see is about 2 months program. You will be paying $120 for medical and accident insurance, which is totally worth it. Because you don't know, when you're traveling abroad, you might need a medical help. You might need some other sort of help. As insurance actually covers part of baggage claims and other things. If you're interested in the program, you need the detail, I can send you the information. And now I'm opening up for more questions. So we do have a lot of people in the audience. Feel free to ask a question. And Leah and Kate, I can answer your questions. Yeah, go ahead.
For the Global Internships, is that a paid internship or?
Depends. And I actually
Yeah, Kate will come here to talk about it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Perfect. And the question was whether with the global internships, if that is a paid internship. And I know for the European locations that, and Vilia's slide, you did see unpaid. That's same for our European locations as Berlin and Lisbon, primarily because of the law and visa regulations, and given that short-term academic focus of the internship as well. Then it does depend, is my answer. For San Francisco, Singapore do have some visa options to provide some level of compensation. But I would say we always say to budget and plan for unpaid, particularly if you're in a new industry area or just gaining professional experience or making a shift to a new country. And then anything you do receive will be a bonus, but we want to make sure that that's typically to know that there are countries for which pay is not an option. Our focus really for all locations is on the academic training, professional, practical experience. We do have a few locations that do allow that via the visa, some level of compensation. And again, that's Singapore and San Francisco for the GCC sites. But for those, we do still budget and plan for unpaid. Let it be a nice bonus if your company is saying, hey, I'd like to cover public transport or lunch or anything like that.
And am I eligible to apply for global internship as an international student or on the F1 visa?
Got it. So for and which location was it again? Are you interested in?
San Francisco.
Perfect. Yeah, the answer and the question, sorry for those watching back the recording, is whether, because I know we'll have other folks with that same question, so thank you, is whether as an international student on an F1 visa, if you're eligible to apply, and for San Francisco, for other locations too, yes. There may be there's some locations where it may vary. I'm going to use the GCC's locations as an example. As F1 visa, you're able to, often we'll work with students on their CPT paperwork. I'm getting into acronym stuff and I apologize for that, but also to work on the paperwork to navigate that. We work with lots of students who are studying in the US and want to gain that professional work experience in the US for sure. For Singapore with us, it's the citizenship of the college that matters, not the citizenship of the individual. That is the only country in the world that has that for their internship visas. It's crazy. And then for other locations, the visa is dependent on sort of student citizenship as well too. So that's a conversation we're happy to have early on, part of your advising with the office as well. But
So if I have an unpaid scholarship in the university, so I don't need to apply my CPT, right?
So the question is, if unpaid internship in San Francisco, do you need to still get the CPT? My favorite answer for all of these is it does depend a little bit. Some of the universities and colleges we work with, if you're doing an internship in the US as an F1 student, will always recommend to do the CPT, so that if you get, pardon me for this, I live in Boston, so I'm going to say it. If you get Boston Red Sox tickets, that's as from your employer, that would be considered a compensation that you would be able to get under the CPT as well too. We do have students who have opted not to do the CPT and to focus on that experience for the summer. And certainly we want to have that conversation with you to make sure we are being clear with the supervisors, particularly in the Bay Area, about if there's any restrictions, if it's based on sort of an extension of the coursework versus based on that curricular practical training. I'm fluent in visas, but I don't have to do the paperwork. I do have that fluency. So thanks.
Oh, is that guarantee the display of the internship I applied?
So is the internship guaranteed? Is that the
Guaranteed to a specific display?
specific area?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I need my professional.
Got it.
The one that really related to my major.
Good. Good. So asking if it's the guarantee to be related to your major. I rarely use the word guarantee for one reason, and that is because we cannot force you into an internship, even if we know it's the perfect opportunity, and we wouldn't do that anyway, right? So we will work with you to sort of identify some different pathways, maybe 2 or 3 different approaches. I'm going to use marketing as an example for that. During that that individual intake meeting or the internship consulting, counseling, that will be an opportunity for us to say, what is it you do or do not want to do related to your major? And sometimes it's a matter of talking about priorities and preferences. And for marketing, we sometimes will say, what do you prefer? Is it data or is it people? And that might mean that you're more into the research and the planning side versus the client and event side. And sort of we'll work with you on that as well. What are you studying? I'll ask. Computer science? Okay, chances are good computer science related, but that may mean something slightly different for each student. Like if you're really keen to learn about AI, but you have never studied anything about AI, we may need to talk about what are transferable skills, what are areas to get to know that are related to that future as well too. And I'm also going to ask, have Leah speak up as well. Thank you. Oh.
Thanks. Yeah, I just wanted to follow up with Kate on that because it's pretty much the same with that. Computer science in general is a great example where, okay, we might not be able to do it exactly because perhaps you're not deep in your computer science major and you might not have all the applications. So what is that umbrella looking like? So if you want to do a computer science major, what are other things you can do? A lot of my computer science students, they've kind of gone to different things. Example would be maybe, again, creating a website for a startup that might be in need of that. We've also had students that worked in a consultancy where they're the people person. So they're not doing exactly the zeros and ones, but what they are doing is kind of being that people person and business person and being that person that communicates between the engineers, the computer science, and the client. I always tell my computer science and my science students, really, and my pre-med students, you will have the classes, you'll do the courses, and that's going to be on your transcript. But what can you show with your internship? And that internship element is maybe that human to human interaction that you might be missing. And that will make you a well-rounded applicant for either your master's or pre-med application. So they can see that you're become with the internship, it's that added layer of becoming a well-rounded, doctor in the future, or researcher in the future, or computer science, CS, developer in the future.
That's great. Thank you. And I know, do you have any accountants here? I always pick on accountants and I always feel badly that I'm like, we're not going to put you in accounting position if you're not looking to do accounting and bookkeeping. That we want to make sure those projects are a good match. We want to make sure that's a good opportunity as well. But I need to pick on somebody else besides accounting often. I feel badly about that. Other questions?
I actually have a
Please.
question. For the housing, so
Yeah.
they're shared room. So they will be placed, two people share a room. Is that
Yeah.
correct?
Yep, exactly. The question is about housing, shared rooms, and it is typically two people sharing a room, and usually someone from, first and foremost, the college. So that would be our first priority, is to have your roommate be from the college. If we needed to open that up, it may be somebody else on an internship program as well. But we've heard from students in the past, it's actually quite nice to get a chance to decompress at the end of the day and reflect and talk about your experiences with another student intern who's having those same types of experiences as well. And we mentioned that we provide that health and safety on the ground. We like that you have roommates and colleagues that you're able to check in with, as well as our team on the ground. That's really important for us as well.
Thank
Yeah.
you. It's can you tell us about from San Mateo County Community College district students, right? They're, for example, if they're interning in Lisbon, who are other students they might bump into, from other colleges?
Absolutely. And I'll let Leah answer this as well, but some of the questions were about who else they might be interning with. And I know, so I mentioned USA and GCC, we have this shared history and are fans and supporters of each other. So we often have some overlap in our partners around the world as well. But for Lisbon, for example, we will have students from interesting within the US, we work obviously with UC Berkeley, UC Riverside, Boston University, but then we also work with Canadian universities. And Lisbon's an interesting example because our Canadian universities love Portugal. And so we get students from MacEwan University, University of Alberta, and York University over in Lisbon quite a bit. We also work with Australian and New Zealand universities. Their academic calendar is exact opposite. So it's unlikely you would have a colleague from University of Melbourne or from another TAFE or another institution there. But we do love that opportunity that you get a chance to have your individual experience. You get a chance to connect with other students from the district who are in the city. You get a chance to also connect with other folks on the internship programs through GCC and some of our peer organizations as well. And then you have that other network you're creating within your internship space and with the industry too. So I'll pause there. Yeah.
Thanks, Kate. Yeah, similarly, we are kind of the same. Most of our partners are American institutions, not just from California, but we have them from Iowa. Boston University is also one of our partners as well. We have some Southern schools like Southern Methodist University, private and public, so all different types. If they are from a international institution, they're usually actually American students doing a program at the local universities. So unfortunately, not too many international students when I think about in the sense of like students from other countries, like Kate from Canada or Australia. But we do have a lot of local universities that that will be at the same time as you all.
Our Indian students as well. I'm going to be in trouble, so I'm just going to mention my colleague Naveen Shah is here from our India office, and we also have students from India that she helps navigate our system. So yes, thank you. Other than you. Okay.
Yeah, does anybody have more questions? Those are great questions. And thank you, Leah and Kate, to answer all the questions. Well, we answered quite a bit question. Thank you again for joining us today to learn more about Global Internship in summer 2024. I hope you participate in one of the program, and feel free to contact me if you need more information or for placement and everything. Thank you. I'll stop the recording now.